Okay. There's one other thing that we need to discuss, and that is this issue of selecting 3 items and then taking this selection of these 3 items and making that a group. So now we have a group here, and this group contains 1 end piece of concrete, 1 bottom piece of concrete, and 1 stone. And it's a possibility that we're drawing along and we're making something where we don't want a piece of concrete showing. And so we can get into this group and we can cut that, and we can close the group, and then we can paste it back. And now our group consists of this stone and this piece of concrete. And there's a possibility that we didn't want that piece of concrete in there either. And so we can open this group, select that piece of concrete, cut it, close the group, paste it in place. And now we have a group which is, as you can see, a single wall stone is what this is showing. And this is just one group, and inside of that group, if you open that group, inside of it is this block of stone. So we basically have a group, and inside of the group is one group. And some people may say, well, the point of a group is to be a collection. And how do you have a collection if you have a group that only has one group inside of it? And that's a true statement, but SketchUp doesn't seem to care, and it's quicker, and so I didn't keep up with all of that. And the other thing that we can mention to you is that if you did happen to have this group that has this stone and that piece of concrete and that piece of concrete inside of it, so now you have a group with 3 things inside of it, SketchUp will allow you to take this group that holds all 3 of these groups and put that group in one layer. But then the groups that are on the inside of that group, they can be in a different layer, which seems strange, but again, SketchUp lets you. So there you go. And the next thing that we'll do is just to run through the creation of the church, just to let you see what it looked like. And this is the beginning of it. We made a terrain and we put some trees in there, and inside of that terrain is a underlying concrete foundation and some foundation blocks on top of that foundation, and those foundation blocks, as you can see, are actually underneath the terrain, so they are what is underground. Okay, so we put in the church, and the church is sitting on top of these foundation blocks, and we have some pictures over here that are helping us to see what the church looks like for the purposes of the stones. And here you can see we've got a few of the stones in place above ground on their layer of concrete. And there I've made the terrain have some opacity taken out of it, so it's a little bit transparent so that you can see through it. And so the blocks of the church are sitting on top of the blocks that are the foundation of the church. And at this point, we're not really showing the terrain anymore. We're just building ourselves a wall for a church. So we've shown the side of the church. There's the buttresses here. This is a wall of the church that's bricked in. This is a window on the side of the church. That window, we're working on that. So again, we took out the little box of a church, and we'll take out the trees and the terrain, and we'll take out those photographs. And we have our church here. On this side of the church is the place where there's a doorway with an arch. And on this side is this end with the windows, and on this side is the doorway that's going to be all bricked in. And these are, there's a buttress here on the end of the church that we're working on. Okay, and we thought this was pretty, and it was time to send it off to Maya and get something in Maya that people can look at. There's all sorts of things. There's a marble arch and a window and a place where the wall is straight, a buttress here, Corinthian marble columns, and the little marble columns have their leaf-like ornamentation to them. This arch consists of 3 different radiuses of arches, and they all have a different number of stones in them, and it was all just there, and we thought it would look nice. And one interesting thing is we also sent this over to Keyshot. Okay, and just for completeness, this is version 313. I'll turn off the photos. So we sent version 313 over to Keyshot. And so this is version 313 from SketchUp, sent to Keyshot, and it goes right over there, and everything looks fine. Everything's in place. The colors are right. The arch is the way it's supposed to be. There's some little errors there of texture, but that's not a big deal. Okay, I couldn't find in Maya 313, but here is the SketchUp version 306. Looks perfectly fine. Everything is in place. The windows are actually translucent. All the bricks render up like they're supposed to. The door is fine. The arches are fine. I'm working on the back side of this doorway. So that's 306 in SketchUp. Okay, so here is version 306 saved in Keyshot, and it looks fine. Everything seems well. I mean, some of the colors are not exactly perfect, but there's nothing that's out of place. Here is these windows and the finials for these. Here's the glass of the windows. It all just looks okay. Here is the Carrara marble. And this again, this took 40 minutes to get this into Keyshot. And in Keyshot, this file is 312 megabytes. So we'll go back and we'll look at it again in SketchUp. And there it is in SketchUp. There is one tiny little mistake in it here where some of this concrete is extending out where it's not really supposed to be. But it wasn't bad, so I thought, okay, we'll enter it into Maya. And let's see what Maya shows us. Okay, I finally got it into Maya. It takes an hour and a half to import it into Maya. It's 500 megabytes. And as I've got it here on this setting of smooth shade all, because it bogs it down to render it. And a lot of this looks pretty good. But what happened here? It's like Why did this arch, why is that stone just in the middle of just floating? And where are all these stones? What happened? And when you look over here at this end where this window is, it's just a total catastrophe. What is this? Why is that stone there? What are these stones? Where is the window? Where are the blocks? Why are these stones, why are this is empty? And where did all of this concrete come from? It makes no sense. Now, you can actually put the texture in, but if you do, it really slows it down. But at least it seems to be able to do the texture. And you can, it's just a complete catastrophe. And I thought, well, okay, what is going on? All right, so this is 312 in SketchUp, version 312. And all I did here was just chop out a whole bunch of the church, because these files get so big that you can never get anything done. And you can see that these structures are all groups. Okay, so I made, for example, I made this group. And actually, this group is just a -1 scale of this group. So this group is the group of all of these. And this group is the group of all of these. And inside of this group is these individual stones that I created. And this is the group of all of these. And I think inside of this group are individual stones. And so when we take, this is version 312, and you can see that it's a lot smaller. So we can select it and send it to Maya, and let's see what happens when we do that. And you can see again inside of Maya that the 312 version in SketchUp is just this total catastrophe. Now this is a much smaller version of everything. This doesn't take quite so much time to get it to come into Maya, and so we can actually let it render. But we still have blocks that are totally missing and blocks that are just out in space. And what is going on? I don't know. So now we're back to 312 in SketchUp, and we'll bring over here the outliner, and we will show, for instance, if we go into this, that's in a group, that's in a group, that's in a group, that's in a group. And if we let it show there. So now we're finally down to a single structure, an object. And that's a group right there. And we can actually take this and open it and cut it. And when we cut it, it's gone. And then we can go all the way back up here to the top of the outliner in SketchUp. There's a hole right there, and we can paste it in place. And of course, it does need to get its coloration back, so we'll take that, we'll put that there. And then this is not a group, it's an object, so we can make it a group. And so now what we have done is taken that stone and pulled it all the way from down in the bottom of where it was all the way up to the top of the outliner. And we did that over and over again, and this lets us look again, and this is number 319, so we'll go look at that. And this is 319, where each one of these is now an individual block right at the very top of the outliner. And this is an even smaller chunk of the church, and we took this and put it into Maya to see what would happen. And you can see, looking at this, we were able to pull the whole entire structure into Maya, and we actually made a little light in Maya to light up this doorway for us. And there it is. Now, it turns out that I forgot to make these Carrera marble, and that's not a complex problem to solve. But we got all of the stones in there. This stone, I was working on this stone to try to make it look older. And that's why it looks different. And I haven't decided if I'm going to keep if I'm going to keep all that or not. I just haven't made up my mind. I was trying to get a little roughness in there because that's in the original pictures of the church. But at least we got the whole arch in there. Okay, and if you look, I was able to take this arch that I fixed and get it to come in, and just to show you, I mean, Maya is what fun. Here's a little light that I put in there, and you can see that I got it as this almost turning it into gold. It's not quite the right color. I was looking for more of that setting sun type of a coloration. Isn't that neat? And that's just this light that look at that shining through the doorway. Oops, hang on. So I'm very impressed with Maya. I would want to use it. I have no problem with Maya, but I've done a lot of work over here on this other end, and I cannot figure out what has happened here. And I guess I'll finish by showing you, this is from Keyshot of 313, Sketchup 313. It's a 60-minute render. It's a PNG. This file is 40 megabytes in size. But it looks really pretty. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with attempting to try to get this to work. I'm just having a little trouble with getting it to be imported into Maya. And what I will do is I'm going to upload all of these different SketchUp files and all of these Maya files to my website, and you can download them from the website and see if you can figure out what is going on. It seems to me, I don't think that SketchUp, that the importer is creating new geometry. I don't think that's true. I don't think that Maya is creating new geometry. I think there's a chance that SketchUp may be taking old geometry that isn't supposed to display and just labeling it as do not display, but it's still in the SketchUp file. And what's happening is the importer and also Maya are missing that. They're not seeing that piece of instruction, and so they're importing objects that are not supposed to be imported. We'll see.